Excellent, excellent. All right, so I hope everyone is stretched, is refreshed. If you have cats that you've been bapped in the face by their tails, or dogs too, or, I mean, if you have a hamster, they have little tails, but I mean, getting hit in the face by it's pretty purposeful in that regard. All right, so where we had,
At that point.
what's that?
Kind of asking for it if you get
Yeah.
tail whipped by a hamster.
So where we had left off, the group is split, but not terribly so, as Investigator Jacob Stillwaters and Deputy Mordecai Silverleaf are taking a purse snatcher down into a not so good part of the Port District in order to try and scare him into living a better life. And it would seem, at least to Mordecai, who is really getting a sense for what's going on around him, you have walked into a not so good area. Not exactly a trap. It's not like they're like, aha, you fools, you fell for it. But you definitely are in, you're pretty well surrounded by people in this open area, a bunch of crates and buildings. And there's a lot of people here, mostly tieflings. And to you, you're pretty sure that they've been selling some luciferae here. And now you have Captain Lawman here bringing in apparently one of their own, in their territory. And here you are as well. And arriving presumably at some point in time, barring... Ma'am, I need this camera not to be flapped by your tail. Thank you. Presuming that no random carts of produce get in their way in their slow saunter to the alleyway, they are going to arrive again at some point in time. So we are going to pick up with Jacob and Mordecai. Jacob, you're rather preoccupied with our errant youth, who has recently wet himself and seems to be in a bit of a fearful state. All the more so now that you're going into this part of town. And Mordecai, you've noticed that this has happened. People are kind of reaching to put stuff away or to, kind of get their grips on weapons in case something happens here. But this is certainly going to be, there's probably about 30 people that you can see hanging out around you in this open part of the alleyway next to kind of a derelict warehouse. And there's the two of you, arguably three if you think this kid, would at least not fight against you should it come down to a fight between you and them.
I just kind of casually rest my hand on the hilt of my rapier at my side and say to them, seems like this kid says he belongs to you guys.
Jacob, with that, are you saying anything or are you doing anything?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking in an infernal.
Okay.
As my friend has just said, this here young one ends up believing he belongs with all of you. He professes that he is a individual of the streets, mean and tough, and he has been most agreeable through most of this transaction. And he ended up claiming for us to bring him home. So him claiming that his home is the streets and that he seems to be homies with you, then I would like to end up releasing him back into your custody. He kind of pushed the kid a little bit forward so everybody can get a good look at him.
Couple of them lean forward, they're all looking. Couple of them lean forward and seem to be giving him a good scrutiny.
Oh.
Ain't seen him before.
No. Come on, kid. Call him out. Who's your friend here? Which one of these fine, upstanding individuals is your friend?
We can tell that you ain't our friend either.
No, never claimed to be. And it's at this point, while his kid is back, he places, or he reaches into his pouch and he procures 3 gold pieces and flashes them, making it very clear his intent on what he's trying to do here.
I don't think you understand. You ain't where you're supposed to be.
No, you can thank this one, Nea, for that. I wouldn't want to end up coming down here either. Interfering in business that I have no... Oh, isn't that ironic? You were interfering in business that had no part with you, which now forced me to end up involving myself in business that I'm not supposed to be involved in. Interesting how that works, hmm?
Quite interesting.
We think you have about 10... Hang on. Apparently an errant alley cat just sort of jumps out and spooks everyone here. They all turn their heads. You got 10 seconds to turn and leave, or we're gonna escort you out. And
I'm gonna be very... Go ahead.
The ones that have been especially scrutinizing stand up, and as they do, the about 30 others start standing up, sort of in a wave around, and you can see Jacob. Now that you're being like more observant on them and the surroundings, you see that this place is certainly filled with a lot of ne'er-do-wells, and as they're standing in a very tough a tough pose.
Please don't make me T-pose on you all. Please don't make me T-pose on you all.
Please make me T-pose on them.
Do you belong here, kid?
No. Get me
Where do
out
you
of here.
belong? Where do you belong? We got 5 seconds. 4, 3.
He names a neighborhood.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and we'll be leaving. Places 3 coins, starts walking his way out.
I walk with him.
Okay.
Your cat bumped your webcam
Yeah,
again.
yeah. What is going on with you? I appreciate the affection, but you are just so rubby right now. My goodness. Oh my gosh.
Whatever you do, just don't throw them over your shoulder, okay? I mean, there's a 50-50 chance of that actually working out in your favor, but I wouldn't risk it.
See
Let's
if I
not
can
toss
tighten
that coin
this.
for them.
That might work a little bit there. All right.
I see tentacle.
So
Furry tentacle.
yeah, it's kind of what the tail is.
Wait,
all right.
What you just need to do is hold them like a baby and give them kisses till they're annoyed. Then they'll leave.
Oh, you hear that?
That's what I do.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. We
all
are
right.
getting all the cat butt. For those of you who don't know, we are getting all the cat butt.
Yeah, the second camera is definitely
It's winking at us.
yeah, she's definitely giving him the eye of Sauron here. All right, so for Celine and Kazimir, I mean Bright, you're just sort of along for the ride, kind of, as you're shuffling along underneath Celine's skirt. But for Celine and Kazimir, you see that Investigator Stillwaters and Mordecai are walking out of an opening at the end of the alleyway, and as they do, you're seeing that there's just this crowd of mostly tieflings that are gathering now on the street level behind them, and they're not necessarily following them, but they're making sure that they're not coming back the way that they're coming or the way that they're coming from. So Mordecai and Jacob, you see Kazimir and a bit of a bow-legged Celine moseying down the alleyway.
Ah, Ricketts. Fantastic. Now, child, are you sure you don't want to go back with your homies? I mean, we can let you off right back now.
No, just take me home.
Okay, what? Hey, you said that's the rich kids district, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, before I throw you back there, you might want to explain to me what this and holds the purse, what this was all about.
What are you trying to prove, kid?
Oh my gosh. Cat. Please. What are you doing? I don't have treats for you. I should go up and get some.
Quick, throw the thing that distracts them.
So while the two groups are meeting up during this questioning, there might be a momentary pause, but from behind, you just hear very rough, "Keep moving! Don't want to see you down this alleyway."
Oh, that makes me want to go down the alleyway.
No, there's probably about 30 people down there. You don't want to do that.
Mr. Ashrand, I would end up heavily suggesting against it, but it is at your own discretion. I have no obligation to go back down there, and I'd rather not have one.
Yeah, let's keep moving, kid.
But that being said, that's up to the young man right here.
So what's this child bullying about?
He seems to believe he's the local tough. Didn't you know he is a criminal of infamous repute?
Ah, I see.
Yes.
What's his name? What's his name?
Where's Bright?
She is.
Yeah, Celine points down under her robes.
Oh, I thought that had something to do with the House of Ill Repute that you visited. My apologies.
I'll come out from under the robes.
Yes,
There's an overly exuberant guard, and I wanted to fight him.
Yeah, overly
You're
zealous.
drunk.
Not you, the other one.
Well, I was just wondering because it seems that you took the House of Ill Repute with you. Well, that being said, we have to end up delivering two quick things. Shouldn't take more than a moment. It's not too far. So, kid, what was this all about?
He goes into how he and a couple of his friends were bored, and they were looking for a way to just sort of do things differently, and so they dared each other. They dared each other to.
So what Jacob does is take down their names, his name, and they reminds him of a simple code of the streets. Snitches get stitches, and you are now a snitch. I would be very careful on the path you choose from here on in, because I'm a very good record keeper.
You don't have to try and steal a purse to try and prove that you're anything worthwhile.
It's not true when everything is just handed to you. You don't understand how rough life. He's saying this. You don't understand how rough life is when everything's just given to you when you don't have to earn it.
Really?
You should try living out in Aslandia with sand dogs. They can do quite a number on you.
Who are you?
Hey, Kazimir. I'm Hunter. You should try it sometime.
Yes.
It's good exercise.
Mr. Ashtree. Mr. Ashtree is quite right. Yeah, spending time out in the wild might end up doing you some good, give you a little bit of perspective. But, that being said, if I ever end up catching wind of your name, well, certain names get out, and, well, unfortunately I can't be there to save everyone now, can I?
And be glad that you have what you have, because it can be easily taken away from you at a moment's notice.
Deputy Silverleaf here is quite an accomplished thief at one point for particular acquisitions. Particular rare wine, shall we say. Anyway, time to get home, lad. And thank you very much, Deputy Silverleaf. I will end up taking it from here. I need to end up getting this purse back to its owner, and I need to end up having a talk with this individual's mother.
Are you wishing to do that by yourself then, Jacob?
If they want to come along, by all means, he has to fulfill his duty and get this through, and hopefully this can also lead to a lead in another point in the case.
Then for the others of you, are you wanting to go with Jacob to return the errant kid? Or do you want
Don't see why not.
Okay.
I said don't see why not.
Are we going after the giants at some point?
Yeah, we need to do that.
The opposite way?
They are the opposite way, yes.
But it's gonna deal with this first, and then we'll get on to doing that.
Well, if you want, we can fast forward it. I'm pretty sure you know where Jacob's going with this. But
We don't have to fast. I mean, fast forwarding doesn't actually stop the giants.
Well,
well,
how about there's a head start? You want a head start, or do we all go together, because this is kind of a group decision?
I'm not much of a tracker. I think we need Kazimir to do that, don't we?
Quite.
I would think so.
So why don't...
Kazimir's not paying attention right now.
Well, yeah, Dark Wolf went out to do something. So, yeah, no, well, I think... if you want to go deal with this thing, Jacob, and then the rest of us can go and get on the trail of the giants, we can give you a sending with our position once you're finished.
If you want, I can create that steed, and you can ride it back to us.
Yeah? I mean, there's one way of...
You're gonna be riding on a mythical beast.
In the fairy tales.
Yep. Jacob?
I wish I didn't have to waste time on little runts, but unfortunately, if you let the little things slide because big things are going on, then the little things are consistently sliding.
Is it that important to drop him off personally, though? I'm sure he's gonna go home.
I don't know. Is there a dry spot on his pants yet?
Doesn't look like it.
Fantastic. I got an overly enthusiastic god to speak to then. And this is going to just basically be, I hand it off to the over-enthusiastic guard, who can now end up using that to meet his quota.
Oh, okay.
Here's your pup. You get all the credit. Fantastic. Here's the key. Hand me your manacles. Hand me your key. Okay, fantastic. Work on.
Then off we go.
All right. So then, you want to sure. We have an overly enthusiastic guard who will happily, everyone seems to be taking advantage of the situation. Well, not everyone, but in a hyperbolic sort of descriptor. Everyone seems to want to take advantage of the situation. This guard certainly wants to, be an enforcer, someone who wants to, in a time of crisis, earn that promotion, and will take the kid from you and presumably go return him. And so then you're not too far. Actually, we're probably just back in the. We're back still in the docks district here. The kid is handed off, and you all end up leaving, and
following after the Fomorians.
yes. To head back out towards the distant gate here. And you gonna behave now, ma'am? You got that worked out of your system? Thank you. All right. Okay. Leaving town, no one's stopping you. I'm not running a chase encounter, but I'm sure if any of you want to purchase anything from any of the many carts that are being pushed around, we can imagine that they're here. So is there any other stops that you want to make? Are you looking for anything in particular before you leave?
I have enough vegetables.
More vegetables?
No, I have enough.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
All right. Yep. So you have 2 cabbages and kind of a loosely knitted burlap sack, and you end up passing through the gates of the city. Whoop. And it's not just, it doesn't go from like pure city out to raw countryside. There's still, it winds down into, there's some nicer residential areas, and it starts spreading out more and more. As the road ahead of you isn't just a dirt road, it's actually paved and nicer when you get closer to the city. But you are going to be going out into the countryside here.
Yeah.
And while it's not rainy, the sky is pretty well what you see, where there are some larger, darker clouds, maybe the possibility of threatening another spring shower. But everything seems to be pretty green and fresh. A lot of wildflowers and such are like little, poking up through, starting to blossom. And the grasses are returning to being green. There's some traffic on the road, wagons and pedestrians coming back and forth, especially in the immediacy of the the outskirts of the city.
So, just as a note, for the purposes of tracking, Kazimir can consider himself guidanced.
Okay.
And assisted.
So, Kazimir, you're getting a good game here from Celine. And,
Because we need to track down some Fomorians.
You do.
Now,
Now,
already have advantage.
at
We can finish
advantage, and you get a good game from Celine on him, too.
Yeah, you get a D4.
Now, initially, they certainly passed through here as there's still witnesses saying, "Oh yeah, they went that way along the road," and that they looked like they're heading out towards the countryside. There's a forest out that way, and some other initial questions that might come up of like what's out there. Did you notice anything weird? The things that I'm presuming as a tracker or two, especially between Jacob and Kazimir and whatnot. Some very basic questions to set up, so at least you're getting a initial direction. They still haven't seemed to cause harm to people. They haven't been, eating anyone or overturning carts or anything that's disruptive other than they're traipsing through and they look like how they look. They did seem, though, to get... they did seem to get some people who were not giants that were following them. So maybe along the way, don't know, something happened. People just wanted to tag along, or something. Something happened though, where they did seem to have a group of followers that were not Fomorians that were traveling with them. About a dozen.
Okay, that's concerning. That's exceptionally concerning.
They may be trying to grow their numbers.
Was there anything special about the people that were following them? Were they like all humans or all elves or
Look into it.
all silly?
Carts, wagons.
Um,
Perfectly average.
From that perspective, from an insight perspective, Jacob, it doesn't seem like that you're not feeling that there was any sort of ill intent or compulsion. These people seem to be willfully following the group of Fomorians out into the countryside. So it certainly is strange, but nothing on the emotional or behavioral level seems to be too alarming. Now, Bright, if you would like to roll an investigation to put some pieces together in your mind to determine a pattern of some kind.
18.
Okay. Well, judging from the bits and pieces you're able to get from the people you talk to along the way, again, I'm just presuming there's some basic questions that were being asked, as this is your quarry of sorts. These may very well have been members of the church. Their descriptors seem to fit a lot of the people that you saw and experienced that were stepping up in a layperson capacity to fill in roles in the church, since a lot of the officiants were going missing, and for a reason that you have now determined, I mean, with near 100%, if not 100% accuracy. And so the followers may very well be members of the church who are seeing these Fomorians that are still wearing church robes, though obviously they don't fit like they used to anymore. And with the leader of the church herself having turned into one of these things, it's voluntary, but there could be a feeling, or not a feeling, but it would seem that these are people who would step up based on their demographics or the things that were described by, oh yeah, that's so and so, and he does a lot, and he's known to give generously, or oh, that person just lost his family. The ossuary held a service free of charge, though he couldn't normally afford it, and he was very grateful. Things like that.
Okay, so when you say, so they're not like actually clergy. They're just the devout.
Devout, yeah, and people who've probably been at least familiar with the religion enough that they would maybe know some of the. It would almost qualify maybe like an acolyte background out of the PHB, where they probably can conduct some of the ceremonies in a maybe not harnessing the power of the gods themselves through them, but know the mundane ins and outs of rituals and can assist in maybe even some magical things that can happen too.
Okay.
So just tracking. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we? I'm confused. What are we doing now?
Okay. So yeah, heading out into the countryside, Kazimir, you are being aided by Jacob, and you are also receiving a little bonus from Celine. Pardon me. Go ahead and start tracking the Fomorians.
So that will be a 21.
Okay. All right, so far you are off to a good start, and with a 21, you're noticing. You're noticing footprints. The grass. The grass isn't as compressed as perhaps you thought it might be for creatures this large, and you're also seeing these little mushrooms growing in the footprints too, kind of like what you saw similar before, so that there is a bit of a track that they're leaving.
So, the mushrooms, do they resemble the fey mushrooms?
Go ahead and make a nature at advantage.
22 or 22. I'll take the 22.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
jeez.
good choice. I give it to you anyway. I'm generous, so. They don't look exactly. I mean, a lot of mushrooms do appear. I mean, the same in form. These do not appear to be the observer mushrooms or the mushrooms that you had to contend with south of the seaside shack. But these are mushrooms that are like that same lavender color that the Fomorians are. And they do look a little kind of like bulbous, like a little misshapen, like the Fomorians themselves.
Okay. And not the same as the fey, like the fairy circle mushrooms either.
No, but there's certainly, they stand out from normal mushrooms like the fey mushrooms do. But what you're seeing growing in the footprints do not appear to be the same as the fey mushrooms. But they're certainly not natural wild mushrooms.
Okay. I wish I had a spell book. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So as you are continuing to track them here, the clouds are still lingering, and we are it's blocking the sun at times. Most of the time, we're gonna say that we are in a dim light situation. With the cloud cover as the sun is being blotted out, and with the shadows of grass and ditches and such. The trail is taking you now across a stream. It's not particularly deep, but it is fairly wide. And so with the meltwaters and stuff, the water could, if you roll poorly, could cause a complication in this chase that's not a chase. But go ahead and I would like all of you to make an athletics check. Now, Mordecai, this is moving water, so if you want to do something differently...
I'm dimension dooring across.
Jacob performs the T-pose as he needs, as he parts the river and hovers across the entire...
If you don't do that, then you're just like Magneto hovering in your pose, just right across the river, just standing up, cape billowing in the wind. You got your Magneto helmet on, and
Both of you are short.
yes, yeah. For those of you at home, those are 2 green 29s here as Jacob the Hulk Stillwaters.
Once again, like.
How deep is the water?
We'll say that it can vary 6 to 10 feet depending on like more so in the middle. It's deeper. Starts out shallow, then kind of.
Okay. How far across?
20 feet.
Okay.
Not terrible.
I'm gonna go ahead and use a Misty Step.
Ah, sure.
I can't do.
It's water. It's not gonna hurt you. Walk through it.
It's a river at 60. How fast is the river flowing?
it's not rapids. It's a fairly good stream because, again, spring and meltwater and whatnot. But it's not churning. It doesn't look like it's gonna, sweep away the countryside if it breaks its banks. But you would, if you do swim against it, it'd be a good current.
Yeah, I'm not really confident in my athletic abilities, so instead I'm just gonna ritual cast water walk.
Okay. So Kaz.
Targeting everyone in the party.
All right.
Already across.
Do you want to? Well, he can cast it on you from the other side of the bank. For all of you out there, Celine's like, "Hang on, give me an hour. I'm gonna cross this. I'm gonna cross this stream."
It's only 10 minutes.
Oh, is it?
Feels like
Oh
Yeah,
no,
I think
I'm sorry. That's the duration. Yeah. Ooh, I thought you were casting an hour ritual just across a 20-foot stream here. I'm like, oh, you can't. I'm not gonna stop
no,
you.
feels like an hour.
It feels. Yeah. Sure.
Celine, I can carry you across. It
No,
will be
I'm
faster.
good. No, I'm good. Yes,
It will be faster.
I'm good. It's fine.
All
As
right.
Jacob just grabs one and he puts his fingers in the river and just is
Yeah.
parting it by sheer physical force at this point. I don't know how that works, but
So not Jacob. Mordecai. What would you like to do to cross the river here?
I've dimension doored.
Oh, I'm sorry. You D-doored. Okay, gotcha. Okay. You dimension door across.
Not to mention, this helps for any other rivers that we come across.
Okay, so you take 10 minutes here, and well, if it means anything, if you do come across any other ponds, puddles, rivers, or streams, at least for the next hour, you'll be able to walk across them here. I guess unless any of you wants to reject the spell, you could walk outside its range. Hearing no objections, you all have water walk then.
Alright, cool.
And Celine just strolls across the river, no problem.
Sure. Okay, no problem. Got a little rough there for a second, but you kept your balance. Walking in the shallows of the sea was a lot more treacherous. Okay. Continuing to track, go ahead and roll another survival, Kazimir. I mean,
No,
you technically lost 10 minutes, but then again, we've been doing other side stuff too, so what could 10 minutes be? Perhaps you could make it up. Oof. All right. So Kazimir, with the help of Jacob and of course Celine, is providing you some aid.
Wait.
So instead of a 26, which is a 20,
30.
plus
30.
4.
It is 30.
All right. Woo.
They are
You-
not getting away.
You are back on it here.
I found a shortcut.
Kazimir finds a sign that says giants this way.
Basically.
Very
It turns
thoughtful
out they
of
were
them.
stopped at another river and they sat down for 20 minutes, so we rode closer.
All right. So Kazimir, as you're tracking along here, it seems that the countryside through which you all have been traveling, is certainly the ground is damp from rainwater and snowmelt and such. And Kazimir, you and Jacob, because Jacob has been helping you track here, a miniature sinkhole opens up beneath the two of you. And Kazimir, though, you easily just, you roll off to the side. Jacob, as this sudden drop catches you by surprise, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I inspire him. I mean, I've been humming a tune.
It's...
just striking the T-pose.
You'd have, yeah. Well, it might not be necessary here, but for future reference, though, can the inspiration be added after the fact, or
Not after, but it's one of
as-
those things that I didn't know that was coming up. So
well, it is by surprise, so no one would have known that it's coming up, unless I don't know. There's rangers, I think, might be able to like kind of put a ground sonar out or something like that for.
Actually, I have
druids,
something that
or
might
druids maybe.
in theme apply. Actually,
Oh. Oh.
I can't be surprised.
Okay. Well, you passed anyway.
Yeah.
So in this case, even at anything that would have been more difficult, Jacob, you like for a moment, like you just feel your feet start to give out. However, because you are alert, and also like Kazimir is just that, just like a couple seconds, like a second ahead of you, but boo, jumps to the side, and you react also, and you both roll to the side, and the rest of you see that this little sinkhole opens up, and you don't fall in. Though it does appear that there's some water. It doesn't look like a huge cavern system or anything, but there is a little pond, and you are seeing that there are some glowing mushrooms down into the sinkhole area that are exposed to the light now.
You want to know what this reminds me of?
What?
Browbeat in the mines.
Were there glowing mushrooms in Browbeat? I don't remember.
Well, there were in the mine, though. But they don't look like the same mushrooms. They look different. Maybe the Fomorians did, and so they have similar mushrooms, maybe?
I, for some reason, doubt that's the case.
How far across is the sinkhole? Like 3 to 5 feet, or?
No, it's not that small. It would be about like I'll say 20 feet across. Also, kind of like the river here.
That's a large sinkhole.
Yeah.
How deep?
About another 20 feet down. Yeah.
So, how... Oh, I know. I need this little cricket. Hi, yeah, it's been a nice visit. Would you crawl down into that hole and let me take a peek real quick at the mushrooms?
Woo! All right, Peggy Sue goes down in, and you go into Peggy Vision, and you do see some gently glowing mushrooms. These ones do appear to be more along the lines of the fey, like not the Fomorian, but the fey mushrooms that you've seen. And it would seem that there is some water that is coursing under the ground. It's not like a huge underground river, but there is definitely a little stream. It's a porous rock, or rock that's been eroded over time as well. That your little cricket here can sort of like crawl into. It'd almost be like a natural sewer pipe. Not like a big New York City style sewer, but more the modern municipal sewer lines that are like yay big around. But there does seem to be water going, and where the water is going in these little tunnels, there does seem to be these mushrooms also growing.
So, I have good news and bad news. The good news is Celine's right, and the bad news is that Celine's right.
Also, roll a perception while you're in Peggy Sue vision.
Okay, should I... Her perception or mine?
If you're looking through it, it'd be yours.
If you're looking through your familiar, which you are, then this is.
In that case, it's great.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Man, all these green numbers. Meanwhile, I'm rolling ones, but that's fine because ones are carts. Bright, as you're looking, you see that as the water's trickling through, the little shiny parts that are reflecting, well, now some of the dim light from the sun coming down, and the mushrooms, you're getting almost that flowing script effect that you've seen when you were in the mines underneath the mountain.
Oh, So this is time for this. Oops. This is time for this. Does it say anything interesting?
Greater comprehension. Yes, so you're picking up Jade taught you well here. As you let your eyes relax and the script starts before them kind of flowing together, making sense as your brain is just completing a stream of Sudoku puzzles as it's just sort of like flowing past you. You're getting a lot of you know what? Make an investigation at advantage also, because you can see the words 14.
14. Yeah.
You're picking up occasionally names that would be what you call things, and a couple of them are cities or locales, or it'd be like maybe you've never heard of the forest, but it's called a so-and-so forest. And that seems to stand out in particular as whatever language is flowing on the waters here. It's not common. It's not gnome. But they're referencing some things in the common tongue as well. So you're getting just names and locations. It seems to be you're also picking up proper names of people. You are. Oh, is everything all right?
Video cut out for a minute.
Okay. As long as you're still here.
Yeah.
Are you good if I continue?
Just reset my
Sure.
video. But I can still hear you on sound.
Gotcha. All right. So it seems to be just a lot of errant information, names. It's places. There are words that you're comprehending that are times of day. You're also picking up numbers as well, and there is also intermittent mixed in with that. You are seeing a lot of references to Fomorians, and there's a lot of back and forth in terms of verbiage that is being sent along this stream that is talking about them, and the context, you're not entirely clear, but the context does seem to be that of alertness or concern.
So that's. I'll just tell everybody those things. What he said.
Yeah, that's
And-
definitely like the pillars.
What?
of
Who
Broken.
said it? Why do I hear a creeper?
That's why there's this hole in the ground. It blew up and left the hole.
I'm sorry if anybody else caught that audio cue, but
Oh yeah, that is some rustling brush here.
like what?
Yeah,
So,
that's definitely like the pillars in Browbeat then.
so this is.
Yeah.
Oh, we were
You
in
look at
Browbeat.
Kazimir like, are you as lost as I am?
We were in Browbeat because we were dropping off a friend at home at the behest of your sister. And there was a collapse, and we went to go investigate the mine to see if we could find survivors, and turns out it was a big kind of fey compound.
It was infested.
And it was
What
probably in another dimension, also.
Probably. And
Not
so,
too far. Just a little bit.
Yeah, we've seen this before.
And so this river is like they have like a series of tubes that they use to send information, and this is the water that carries it. And
Probably through the
Yeah.
whole island, to be fair.
yeah,
I immediately
maybe-
place a hand on the back of my hand on Bright's forehead. I need to do an insight. Is she high?
No, she's pretty low to the ground.
I'm not so sure.
She is speaking. I mean, look, you can doubt her. She I would imagine you're still convinced she's guilty of murdering a police officer. I mean, she's giving you what she thinks or knows, or at least is presenting to you as what she considers to be factual.
And is anybody else going into remission from Lucifer's use right now?
So,
I think
technically
Adon-
manslaughtering, not murdering.
Well, I mean, Salid is agreeing with Brian.
Not exactly helping the case, but all right.
I know it sounds crazy.
It
Oh, no,
is
no,
crazy.
Thank you. He then
But that's
looks
what-
back to
but
Celine,
that-
like,
it's
I
like-
just agreed with you.
It's like, yes, it is crazy, but it's the truth. The last couple of
Lucifer stealers.
We're not on Lucifer's. We don't have anything like that.
Jacob, you do know that Lucifer's only affects tieflings, right?
At this point, every other rule has gone out the window. So as far as I know, you have found your own special blend.
Look, considering you're going to be journeying around with us, allow me to fill you in on some things.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Astrolite will end up appreciating that as well.
You'll get it eventually.
The hard
The
part
Fae?
is coming up with ways to
Real.
screw it up.
Very real. Very dangerous. That Jacques entity that I mentioned earlier, he's Fae.
Yes?
Yeah, Fae.
You like all kinds of stuff.
Got bound to me after we had an encounter in Browbeat with a rather powerful Fae creature by the name of Orlans. The Fomorian eye keeps him at bay. They don't like each other, the Fomorians and the Fae.
Yeah, so that sounds like a
Kazimir,
fairy tale.
I'm going to punch you in the ball.
I'd actually watch that.
Assault.
But yeah, it sounds ludicrous. It is ludicrous.
But it's the truth.
This is what we are dealing with.
It's what we have been dealing with for the past several months.
So far as we know.
I'm just going to roll with it for now.
Be honest with us. You didn't sign up for this, so you don't have to be part of it.
Well, I clearly have to. Because there's one of three options, none of which I like. That's going on here. Now let's just put that you potentially are telling the truth as you understand it on the table right now. This is exactly what you expect to be going on. Okay. 2. There is some serious tomfoolery going on around here. That somebody isn't telling somebody something, and this web of deception has gone so far as to end up turning into what could be mass illusion or hysteria. 3. The option you propose, which is I can grab my shield, I can grab my bags, I can move on back to where I'm needed, because there's clearly fires going there, but you four have promised me to end up assisting me with the current situation until that tower is resolved. Now, the Fomorian things is what we need to end up encountering to end up dealing with said catastrophe. Then I will be there the whole way. If I were to turn back, I would be turning my back on my job, my country, and my beloved sister. None of these three options I particularly like. Do you understand?
Your
The
tattoos
world is rarely ever so agreeable.
Your tattoos kind of itch also. Now that you've been around this open pit and with everything that's going on.
Your sister's kind of the one that sent us on this mission. You have questions.
I mean, if it's about the flesh tree, I already told you all I know about that.
I wouldn't say something like that so whimsically.
No, that's not
Right.
a whimsical, it's just factual thing. I've told you everything I know about it.
She's rather blunt with her words.
No, I am not going to throw her off a cliff. I am not going to throw her off a cliff. Very well then. How did Jade put you on this path in the first place? What exactly is her connection to this? You made mention of Shonoro.
Yeah.
And what does that have to do with any of this? And
To put it simply, Jade followed this Shonaruth's mission to stamp out what cannot be.
What should not be.
That's the Fae, and that's the undead.
and yet she ended up having the need to keep you around.
I don't know why.
To be fair, she didn't really like him very much.
But she
Yeah.
never killed me.
She did threaten to, though.
Oh, she threatened to, but she never did. And I don't know why.
Mainly because you were more use alive than dead.
There's nothing special about me.
Because you
I mean, I don't know, magical use is pretty special, Mordecai.
you were in control. You weren't mindless like the others. You were still you. Make herself do it as long as you were still you. It would be like killing her companion.
There were plenty of times that she could.
At this point, I have little comfort in thinking of my sister as a murderer. So, at this point, do we go down or do we end up proceeding with the hunt?
Doesn't seem like there's any way to get down there, except if you were a tiny cricket.
Yeah, so
I can make a way.
In what way?
So, Matty, I'm double checking. Describe this. It's a small sinkhole, right? That has shown a large drop with a bunch of mushrooms that glow underneath it, correct? That's what's allowing us to see what's under there. Okay. And the sinkhole is about how deep again?
Matty, you're muted.
Hey, there I am. I'm back, everyone. Thank you.
Everybody all together. Matty, you're muted.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, approximately. Now, there is some water in the bottom, and the water seems to be coming from it. It's not a sewer pipe as in like it was laid down and manufactured, but there's just a little, like maybe 6 inch or so, like crevice where water has been like flowing into and in between here. So again, think of like a modern municipal water pipe, where it's, you know, this is still carrying a ton of water, but it's not a big city underground sewer where people can actually walk and navigate, or there used to be an underground rail line or something along those lines. And then there's little down here. There's like, you know, little mushrooms that are growing and.
So, at this point, would it be a safe presumption that if water is to be being led, it has to flow to somewhere? And if I watch where this pipe is going, would it be correct to assume that this pipe is one end is pointing towards the city, the other end is pointing towards where the Fomorian tracks are going? I'm getting an itching feeling in my mind right now.
I'll tell you what, make an investigation at advantage. It's not that you're not onto something, but how much frosting am I going to doll up on your cake? 21. It does seem, especially because you have been doing a good job of following the tracks of the Fomorians, and that you have come across this weakened area, weakened by water. You know, with the city behind you, you are certain that without actually following the pipe, all the circumstances are such that this would be a flow of water that the Fomorians have been following from the city out into the countryside as you're continuing to advance into it. Now, you're not along a major road right now, so and when we say pipe, it's pipe, in so much that we understand it's conveyance of water. But it could be natural cracks and things that are just underground that are...
So, if we lose track of the Fomorians, we can retrace them because they're following the pipe.
Presumably so, yes.
And this is because this water is flowing information back towards the Fae, if I understand something correctly.
Yes. There seems to be a way that they communicate.
Well, some good news for you all. You're about to end up having a very personal encounter, not just with the Fomori, but with your hated Fae as well. In what I can only assume is a very short travel.
Then we should get to it.
I'm looking around to see if there's any markings. Maybe the grass grows a little thicker around this pipe because it's perpetually watered or something like that. I'm looking for alternative ways to track this pipe in case we can't track the Fomori.
I want to look for that too, but I'm more looking for any kind of landmarks that are right around this spot, especially one that might be visible from the air, but also from the ground, but also the air.
Are you sending up an arcane eye, or you want someone to toss you? How do you want to get
I just want to look around. I'm using my regular eyes to see, like, are there any, like, rock formations or groves of trees that are really distinctive?
Okay. Sure. So go ahead and make a nature bright.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's a red number. The worst color there is.
That's Derek's feeling personally attacked. Water, it's underground water, so I mean, water exists at certain levels in different watersheds. There's nothing that is appearing like an unnatural circle of stones, or, you know, oh wow, I never noticed that giant mushroom forest before, or the way that the water conveys is perhaps very clever, because if you dig down far enough, you're gonna strike water, most likely, especially on the interior here. And so there's just a lot of possibilities, Bright, and there's so many that you're having a difficult time coming up with something that seems definite, as you are capable of entertaining so many at once.
But as far as, like, it doesn't necessarily have to mean the water, just like a place that would indicate this particular spot.
Well, right, there's no, the grass isn't taller, there's not a line of trees that are, growing, from here to here, and there's no other trees, growing off to the sides or anything. It's
It's
open.
a featureless flat plain.
It's what you're seeing here, yeah. There's
If
just
we ever have to fight the Tarask, this is the place to do it.
You also need the immovable
What's a
rock.
Tarask?
I don't know.
It's an old gnomish legend. It's like a really big lizard.
May I roll a history check, please?
They're very susceptible to fights on featureless flat plains.
a history for what in particular are you hoping to noodle over?
I think it'd be better to do it
The Tarask.
The
As it's
Trask
being mentioned.
The Trask is clearly just a made-up creature by gnomes.
Yeah, no, I
Clearly.
just want to see if I've heard the legends before, or if something similar has been mentioned in.
Sure, history at disadvantage.
Happily. I'll take a 6.
Yeah, to gnomes, a lot of lizards are probably really big, and so the Trask has
Okay.
got to be like the size of a horse, and that's a huge, like, that's a town-destroying lizard right there.
Whew. We have a...
I think
I
I've heard that
believe-
legend.
Yes, the Tieflings have a name for the Tarask as well. They refer to it as Gojira. A lizard the size of a head, near small, near pony.
It has radiant breath too, from what I understand.
Yes, as bright as the sun.
Breathe.
It's the kind of monsters you see in children's books. Come on now.
Yeah, clearly not something that Mordecai would summon as a mount or anything. Come on.
Oh boy.
Not even as big as a sundog.
So Mordecai, yeah, if it's a lizard the size of a horse, maybe you could summon a Tarask as a mount. And tell me more of this legend.
Hey, I created a monster out of a storybook, so it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm a magical tinkerer.
Yeah, roll with it.
So
So yeah, there's no real markings. This just seems to be you're following the Fomorians, which are possibly sensing this, and by following their footsteps, the footsteps are leaving sort of an above ground equivalent of stones or mushrooms or unusual grasses or trees that are following this information network.
So we keep following the tracks, we'll find them, and we know why. Theories of why.
I guess we better keep following the tracks. Hey Mordecai, did I overhear you offer to let Jacob borrow your griffin?
Yeah. If we
What?
want me to summon it back up, I can do that.
Maybe not right now, but maybe tonight. Would you be willing to let me borrow it for a little while?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't need it right now, but later after this is over.
It takes 10 minutes to conjure it up, so.
Yeah.
Kazimir, then, would you like to roll another survival as we continue the journey as early afternoon turns into late afternoon? You do have advantage and guidance, so it's not an 18, but a
20.
20!
Magic number.
You're continuing to follow the tracks, and you find that there is a large patch of razorvine that is in the way of the path that these things have been walking. Now, razorvine isn't native to this area, and the fact that randomly there's a very large patch such that it would be like rather tall, like bright. This razorvine is taller than you, and it certainly goes out a distance. It doesn't look like it's been traipsed through, or if it has, they've taken they were leaping so that you can't see through the razorvine to where they landed and kind of squish the vines down. Now you can attempt to go to navigate through the razorvine, and you can do that with a dexterity saving throw, or you can take the long way around and try and refine the trail somewhere on the other end of the patch.
I'll go through.
Do Dex.
Mordecai wants to go through. Kazimir, you said what?
I'm putting my shield on. I'm going through.
Okay, Celine.
What are we doing? I'm sorry, I missed.
You can go through a large patch of razorvine, possibly cutting up your robes and your flesh, or not, or you can go around it or over it somehow.
How deep is this patch?
This goes for probably at least you can't. It's too thick to look through. And it does look like it starts curving around, but this is probably 300 feet or so.
It's a lot of razorvine.
Yeah.
That's a lot of razorvine.
Okay, I can take care of this if you guys want.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cast Fly
Okay.
at level 5.
Oh.
That 3 of us can go across. I'll also take a nice good look while I'm up there, and maybe Kazimir can as well. Maybe it would help him, and then I'll come back and cast it again for the other 2 people.
Okay. Sure. So Bright, you're flying the friendly skies of
Well, if you want to save that, Bright, I can just conjure the
Griffin.
Jasper, yeah, and that'll save you a spell, and you want to use them later anyway.
It's true.
Yes,
So,
we
yeah.
might as well just spend the time.
Might
Okay.
as well spend 10 minutes.
Let's do that. That's better.
Okay, so we're discarding that reality and going back to another one. All right.
Yep.
That's fine.
Jasper exists.
All right. You're doing this as a... Is this a ritual, or no, this is just casting 10 minutes, right?
No, it doesn't have a ritual cast.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just 10-minute spell slot cast.
Sure. All right, so Jasper the Griffin is being summoned in, and you're going to start ferrying people across here. Mordecai, then, on this initial flight, go ahead and make a perception at advantage.
All right. 24.
Oh, take that 24 instead of the 11. All right.
My 11 is a natural 1.
All right, you can see as you are doing an initial flyover, and who do you want to take with you on this initial flyover?
Volunteer.
I'll go.
Alright, that works.
All right, so Kazimir, you mount up. Mordecai, Kazimir's got some pretty strong arms. Like he's holding on to you, and he's and you two take to the skies. And Mordecai, you see that there is a body that is caught up in the razorvine.
And there's no way I'd be able to tell from this distance whether they look alive or not.
Either distance or because it's caught in the vines, it's partially obscured. But there is a still figure lying in, like, it looks like the vines have even grown around the figure.
Is it less than 120 feet from me?
Sure.
I can try and
Yeah.
cast message and ask them, "Are you okay?" You can respond.
No response.
Like it landed on a dead target.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to know. All right, so I just ferry people across.
That's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Okay.
Can you tell the rest of us about the body?
When I get back.
Kazimir, make a perception also while you're in the sky. Okay. Then, Celine, make a perception while you're being ferried over.
I only have one good eye, remember.
Yeah,
I am good at perception.
must be in your blind spot.
I am not good
As
at
you roll a,
today.
as you roll a
today.
9, that there's
You're
a red number.
distracted.
Bright, make a perception as you're flying over.
I told you not to steal my dice.
Woo! Another red number, a
Wow.
1. All right. And Investigator Jacob Stillwaters, roll a perception while you're being flown over. Yeah. So Jacob, you see just catching a glimpse of it as you're coming down on the other end of the patch actually extends for a good while. So while you're seeing the width of it, it does seem to go on for a while. That it would definitely necessitate very cautious, slow moving through, or this flyover that you're doing here. You do see that there is a second body, though. That's not the one that Mordecai had originally described.
Halfway through the field.
More towards the end. Maybe about 100 feet from the edge, on the other end of it.
I'm gonna tell Mordecai to fly down.
I'd first cast. Well, I'm going to comply and kind of fly down towards it, but at the same time, I'm going to cast message as well to see if that person responds.
No response.
I don't think they made it. It might be a waste.
Somebody should go down and try to get them. They might. I mean, we should at least try to find out who they were.
Agreed. I wouldn't end up wanting to be left in here, the wild for here, scavengers myself. It's the least we can do.
Okay, if you want to go down there and try and recover, the vines can be kind of like, if you're slow and methodical, you can navigate through. You might get kind of scratched up.
I'm willing to end up doing it a little quicker in order to end up making sure that the body remains intact.
Oh, well, I was thinking, if anybody has a rope, I could go down and maybe tie the rope to the body with my mage hand, and then we wouldn't have to actually expose ourselves to the razorvine.
Very well.
Not paying attention?
No, very well.
Yeah.
Go so. Do so.
Okay.
I don't
does somebody...
have a rope.
Rope?
Nope.
I have rope.
I could teleport, but that's a
I have
there
50.
impact, and I can't.
Okay. Kazimir, let me borrow your rope, and will Jasper mind if we tie one into the rope to him?
Shouldn't mind.
Okay.
Well, that's very nice of him. And then, do you wanna fly Jasper while I concentrate on the mage hand?
Sorry, do what?
You
To
wanna
Jasper?
fly Jasper while I concentrate on the mage hand?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay. Mordecai and Celine, as this is happening, especially for you, Mordecai, flying Jasper and seeing a friend of yours tie herself to a rope to be dangled over a very dangerous area.
I'm not being dangled. I'm using my mage hand.
Well, there's just this an Aslandian flashback that's occurring for a brief moment. No mechanical detriment, but that was a very vivid memory regarding regarding Selter and the airship and the hunt that was going on in the desert there. And all right, and so you're being tied, and you're using your mage hand. Can you go over that one more time with me with what you're going to be doing to manipulate?
Yeah. Right. So I'm tying one end of the rope to Jasper.
Yes.
And I'm using the mage hand to tie the other end of the rope to the bodies.
Okay.
Them out.
Gotcha.
So no one is dangling except the corpses.
Okay.
Basically like a logging helicopter.
Okay. Sure. I don't know if the griffin can hover though.
If he can maintain flapping his wings in place.
Yeah, hover's not really a flying mechanic in 5th, I don't think. Is it?
It is.
It is?
Yeah, hover is a
Yeah.
mechanic. It keeps you from falling if you get knocked down.
Yeah. But hovering like with wings, if it doesn't have the thing of it can hover. Basically, it means it can hover whilst its wings are able to be used. But if it gets knocked down, it gets knocked down. Whereas creatures that have specifically can hover even if they get incapacitated.
Beholders.
Yeah,
Yeah, like the hover.
In past editions, it's like you manipulate fly speed, or if it has a particular grade of flying, hover's included, and I haven't really gotten to mess with flying all that much in 5th, even running it. So, yes, Kat, can I help you? Let me just.
I mean, it's kind of assumed that all flying creatures can maintain their position when flying because flapping wings.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's assumed that they can maintain position regardless of how well they can fly, but specifically creatures that can hover can fly even whilst incapacitated.
Okay. Then we'll roll with that, and so Jasper is kind of in a position here, and Bright, you're with the flapping and everything. Make a general a spell casting, like an intelligence check, to see if you can manipulate the hand and try and counter the wind and the movement of everything that's happening, the flapping. Oh, all right.
20.
Yep. 20. All right. So, using your intelligence here, it takes a little bit of time as you're doing this. But loop by loop, you are able to get the rope around the corpse. Though it still has vines kind of wrapped around it, and these razors and these little pokey doos are still embedded in the flesh. So while it is tied, it does have these vines that are very tough. Like it's 5 pounds of movement your hand can.
10.
10.
I'm not trying to pull vines. I'm just trying to tie the rope.
Well, right. The corpse is in the vines though. Like, so you'll have to either like chop or destroy some of the vines in order to pull the corpse free.
How far away are they from me?
I can't like fish the rope down there.
Well, you can tie the rope around, but the body is entangled also. So you can tie, but Jasper's either gonna have to like pry, like rip the body out of the tangle vines or the razor vines, and Kazimir, they're like 120 in from the edge, but you can't see them because it's too thick. I mean, you can look in the sky and you can see in the sky where they're at, but you can't look at ground level.
All right. I'm going to base off where Jasper is, and I'm going to go in.
I think that would still work.
Okay, let me ask you a question,
Sure.
Matty. Could I use the knock spell to blast the body loose from the vines?
I will. Maybe. I'll take a look at it in just 1 second here. I need to double check if oh, that's polymorph. Here we go. Okay, yeah. So while these are certainly grown in a supernatural fashion, the plants themselves are still natural. And so using land stride, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to be counting as magical plants for the purposes of this. Moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs you an extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them and without taking damage. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants. All right. So Kazimir is going into the tall grass. You disappear into the razor vines nearly effortlessly. And then as for Kanak, let's go to Ensnaring, Everard's Fear.
Here's the spell text.
Oh, there we go. Object can be a door. Target's held shut by a mundane lock. In this instance, I would say no.
Okay. Probably wouldn't allow it either, but I wanted to find out.
Hey, I'm open-minded. If you want to try something or you have a creative use, absolutely. The worst case is I say no and you can't use it anyway, but maybe something cool can happen from it, or yeah, you know what, that could work in this circumstance. So yeah, I'm willing to consider it, but in this case, I'll say no. Knock wouldn't be able to work here.
All right. So do I get to the body?
If he's not being slowed, he'd get to it pretty quickly.
Yes, I need 1 second to look at something on my end that's not... Kazimir's fine. I need to double check something here.
This was planned originally, but you guys want to be fancy and fly. You guys... It's easy to get through plants and water. I don't see what the big deal is.
I'm not very
Magic
strong.
to cross a river? What's wrong with you?
I can't cross rivers.
And I can cross rivers by using magic. It works great.
Jacob makes a
We had to
note.
wait 10 minutes for Celine. It's scary there.
All right, Kazimir,
Yes.
I need you to make a perception, please.
Right.
All right. As you are approaching the body that is inside this, just this mess of razor vines, you can see probably the cause of death here would be that this person's head has been bashed open. It seems, as it's dangling off to the side, and like the top is just sort of like it's missing, and there's nothing inside.
That is new. Actually, real quick, because I have a favorite enemy of undead, could I roll the history to see if this is something I would know?
Sure.
I think undead follows under religion primarily, doesn't it?
I think that was in 3rd edition.
I have advantage if it's
It's a history check.
history check.
Yeah,
Well, it says intelligence check, so that's why I say history.
yeah. It's any check that uses intelligence survival.
Oh, I could.
So you could also
I don't have intelligence, so
yeah. So well, I mean, you'd also get
unless I
the
do
fo-
nature.
It,
History's intelligence too. History,
yeah.
religion, and nature are all intelligence.
Yeah.
Any of them you have advantage on.
Nature is the only one I have.
And Arcana, if an Arcana check ever comes up.
there are certainly past tales of what we in the meta sense would call like unintelligent undead, but one that specifically has its head bashed open, like that actually seems to be a favored method of disposal. That being said, the corpse doesn't have any sort of undead mutations that some of them get, like extra long fingers or nails or a big squiggly tongue or something along those lines. And while you're down here examining this, Kazimir, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw, please.
Oh no.
Okay. For a moment, as you're watching this and you're racking your brain, there's just something weird, just a quick headache or something it distracts you for a moment.
Anything happening?
No, you shake. It's just a weird kind of a
Okay.
woozy feeling, but
I'm going to cut this body loose.
sure. All
With,
right.
with the mundane battle axe.
Okay, so you start going weed whacking with this battle axe here. I need you to make another intelligence saving throw, please.
Okay. Second.
Okay. All right, you take 17 psychic damage. And I need you to roll 3d6 for me, please, Kazimir.
3d6?
Yes. Okay.
Average.
What is your intelligence score, Kazimir?
The score is 10.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Kazimir, you're once again the headache strikes and you fall down. You fall down for a second here, as you're clutching your head. You're on your battle axe, and you start laying down, and you are stunned. Right now, your intelligence is currently 0, and you are in the stunned condition.
Okay.
Mordecai and Bright, down in the razorvines, Kazimir started chopping and then just sort of fell over. However, the vines are very thick, so it's difficult to see Kazimir. It's not like he got like a big swipe in here, but then
Do I see him or no? Sorry.
Make a perception.
Can I make one too?
Yeah, both of you may make a perception.
Just as a note, am I conscious?
Stunned.
Yes, you are conscious, but you are stunned.
Okay.
So Mordecai, you can see, you can see like Kazimir's boots, sort of in like a little area. He was kind of shoved a little bit out of the way carefully, and did manage to get like a chop of the vines in. The corpse is mostly loose. It still has like one kind of around here. But yeah, you can see Kazimir's boots.
How far away is he from me?
I mean, the rope's 50, but you gotta, we'll say that you're hovering, like 20 feet above, and then there's, it was high up, so we'll say about, 30 feet away from you.
Okay. I cast message. Ask him if he's okay. I saw him go down.
Reply in your best intelligence 0 line you could ever conceive of. The world is flat!
Boo, boo, boo. We're sorry. The ranger you're trying to contact is...
You just hear the sound of sand dogs.
Yeah.
I don't think Kazimir's okay.
He got ganged.
Something's
Gang.
down there. So
That's bad.
I mean, I could fly down, but then I can't. I mean, I can't get him out. I mean, maybe
I can teleport him. I can go down if you want to take the reins.
I'll take the reins. Do you need a fly spell? I know you don't like to do it.
Sure, if that's gonna be better.
Mordecai, is message an action?
It is.
Okay. So if you've used your action, what else are you doing with move or anything else here?
If it's only 30 feet down, I'm going to jump.
Sure. All right, you're gonna jump down.
Bye.
All right. All right.
I'll let you fly down, but if you'd rather fall, don't let me stop you. Just fall into the razor.
You know what?
Sure, why not?
As that happens, let's see if I still have this. I think I do. Yeah. Mordecai, as you end up doing so, it's like maybe.
Are we within 60 feet?
You are not within 60 feet. Yeah.
I am not within 60 feet. Oh, I thought I had something.
So Mordecai, the razor vines are going to break your fall. However, you are going to take 10 points of slashing damage as you land softly, though you are cut up on the way down. Bright, you have Jasper's reins in your hands. I'm sorry, Mordecai, is there a bonus action or an item interaction that you want? If not, then we're going to go to Bright.
Trying to think. Sec. I didn't think about bonus action. I don't have anything at the moment. Because I don't. If he's intelligence 0, I don't know that he can hear me. Because inspiration might not work.
It'll work insofar as yes, he can. He's not deafened, so technically he can hear you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to understand you. He just has to hear you.
I'm going to attempt to hum a song and try to inspire Kazimir. Just in case.
All right. Bright, action move bonus.
Okay, so, Jasper, I know we're new to this, but hopefully we'll get to be good friends soon, and I'm gonna need you to pull as hard as you can and try to pull this body out. And we're gonna take it over to the side, and then we're gonna come right back for them.
Okay. So you're going to encourage Jasper to wrench free the body that's been
because it's almost loose.
Yep. All right then. So aiding Jasper, Jasper's athletics will be enough that with a and then kind of a pop, the body does wrench free. There are some cuts and whatnot. You do manage to stay on though, Bright. He did well enough that you're not like thrown from the saddle or anything, and you were ready for it. And so you all see from the distance rising above there is a corpse that is just sort of dangling from the griffin as it's starting to fly up. And so Bright, I mean, if you want to use your movement as part of this to fly it over, or is there something else?
I mean, whatever I can do to encourage Jasper to fly over to
Sure.
where Jacob and Celine are waiting.
All right. All right.
So, hi guys, I traded one corpse for a different corpse. Let's untie this one real fast so I can go back for Mordecai.
Celine and Jacob, this corpse looks like the top of its head was crushed or bashed, or somehow it's been trepanned. And, but yeah, Bright, special delivery.
All right. I'll take the corpse.
Let's just untie the rope from that end, because we might need it to bring that back. I don't know yet.
Lethality, real quick. I'm trying to get to a point where you can take off because I know you have Gathering of Nerds here.
Yep.
That you're gonna have to go to.
Yep. That's fine.
Okay. Mordecai, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw as you're down in the thicket here next to the next to the stunned Kazimir. Okay. While you're down here, there's just kind of something, a quick little Psyduck level headache washes over you. However, you regain yourself.
I am grabbing a hold of Kazimir, and I am dimension dooring to where everyone else is.
Okay, do you have to be able to see where Dimension Door takes you? No, you don't have to.
I can,
just name a distance.
I can dictate a name, a distance, and a number of feet.
Okay, gotcha.
Direction and number of feet. And so I'm using a 5th level spell slot for that.
Okay, and yeah, and Dimension Door does allow you to take luggage, so Kazimir would qualify, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And willing creatures.
Okay, Mordecai, make a perception check before this goes off.
All right.
Oof. All right.
I have eyes.
As your spell manifests, and it's just getting ready to take you in the direction you want to go, for a moment in the tall razor vines in the thicket here, you see something that looks like a wrinkly, bloody mushroom kind of squatting underneath some of the vines. And then your spell goes off, and you're no longer standing in the razor vines. However, Kazimir is in your arms and drooling.
Okay, and if I can, my next action would be to use Lesser Restoration on him.
All right, can you throw the text of that up on the screen for me?
I think it's... Stunned isn't right.
The only way to cure him is by greater restoration to restore intelligence.
Or he might get better. We'll see.
Yeah, you'll have to see. So you can take back your lesser resto, Mordecai.
Okay.
And so what we'll do is you caught a glimpse of something in the razor the razor grass. Kazimir is now at the camp, laying next to someone with the top of their head split open. Jacob and Celine are looking at the body, and Bright is mounted atop Jasper, kind of hovering with a rope dangling from him. And we can leave off at this point, at this point here this week, and we can revisit it next.
And Kazimir is salt again.
Yeah, you could say that.
I'm going to be spending a lot of time at church.
Yeah. Because we need to get him back to town.
Are we... Is this looking like the end of the day, or are we looking at...
It's late afternoon,
No,
so...
I think it's mid-afternoon still.
No, we're probably talking around 5 p.m. The sun's not ready to go down just yet, but yeah,
Hopefully might be ready to.
If you turn around, you could probably hit the city after the sun sets, so it'd be a little bit dark at your backs. Otherwise, you can make a camp in a wide open field if you have watches. Presumably, you won't get waylaid. Or you can keep forging ahead, but...
Yeah. If we make camp, I have tiny hut, so I could ritual cast that. Either way, whatever we do.
Well, you'll have a week to think about it, and you can discuss it in RP chat if you want, to make plans or talk about what is going on and what do we do. You're welcome to do that. Lethality, I know you got to go. Real quick, I'm sorry, Fluffy. A quick plug for the Gathering of Nerds. You have your one shot this week. What is your level and your prompt?
So our prompt is huge, and our level, we're using a epic level supplement this week. So normally, sometimes we turn the knob up to 20. This week, we're ripping the knob off, sticking a screwdriver where the knob is, and turning it up to 30.
Oh, so you're playing level 30 characters with an epic level supplement. Okay, all right.
I think I actually have something that might help you on that. Somewhere around here. Yeah, right here. Anybody remember this guy?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
The good old-fashioned epic level handbook from 3rd.
So I'm gonna want to land Jasper before,
Okay.
just
Yep.
next, so that I can,
So we're
talk
all
to
together.
everyone
Yeah.
and whatever.
Get everyone together. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna run because I'm gonna get my character ready.
Yep.
before-
Go.
Alright.
Go do it.
Tinker.
We'll look for your signal flare.
Yep, you'll get a signal play when we go live. Good game, everybody. Kazimir, I'm sorry. I know exactly what hit you, and I'm just so sorry.
Stop apologizing. Kazimir can't understand you anyway.
Fair.
You just can't
And
stand up.
I'll see you guys next week.
All right.